Welcome back to Quail Country,
Quail Hollow.
Quail Hollow Country Club. Quail County. We got my guy Eric sitting right here.
Quail County.
I heard myself speaking because we pre-recorded those ad reads, which, by the way, I hate my voice. I'm so sorry that you guys are subjected to hear this on a day-to-day basis.
I love your voice, but I was a little spooked to hear it when I was sitting
right here.
Yeah.
We recorded those because I didn't want to bring the ad reads out, and then it's just easier that way. So it threw me off. But we're Quail Hollow Country Club for the Austin Car Celebrity Golf Outing. Thrilled to be here. Thrilled they let us back. We had so many interviews in the first hour, all thanks to my guy Eric, who you can't see on camera, but Eric, the best. We appreciate you, Eric, and thanks for inviting us out here as always. We are going to talk a little Cavaliers, though. We talked to Coach Fratello about Meleek Thomas. We talked to Danny Cunningham, who was out in Vegas watching Meleek Thomas. He finished the Summer League as the leading scorer, 28.3 points per game. He had the single game high, 35, against Miami. He was named to Bleacher Report's All Summer League first team, which is not the official first team. That'll come out in a few days. I'd be shocked if he's not on that as well, but Bleacher Report did name him one of the 5 most impressive rookies thus far. He was a second-round pick, Zach and G. The 34th overall selection, fell a tiny bit. Thought he'd be a late first-round pick, early second round. Did end up going in that range. But do you think Koby Altman may have found the steal of the draft in Meleek Thomas? If there was a redraft, G, I think it's a good chance he's going significantly higher than the Cavs got him at 34.
No, I remember actually sitting there watching because we was doing you were doing Ultimate Cavs, and you were talking about how the Cavs kind of traded out of the first round, and there was guys that were there available that they could have took that you think could have stepped in and played a role. Cavs ended up not doing anything. They moved back to the second round. They get Meleek Thomas, and if you take a look at what it was and how he moved from that position to getting him in the second round, if you listen to what John Calipari was talking about, he comes on NBA TV and he says, listen, you guys missed. How you miss on this dude? How did you miss on him? He's one of the best scorers in the country. And I look at it like, if you averaging that many points, but it's just not the points, right? We laugh and joke about it, Monty Bates, right? Monty Bates got about two moves, right? You know what he doing.
It's catch and shoot and one dribble and shoot.
And one dribble and shoot. When you watch Meleek Thomas, he has more degrees to his game. He can handle. He's deceptively quick. He has a bigger body. He has a weird way of finishing with the float game. He can get his shot. He shoot like Halliburton a little bit, but
yeah, he does actually. That's a good comp on his jump shot. Halliburton's a good comp.
And you think it's not really going in, but you be like, man, that's going in all the time.
Yeah.
He can come off screens. He can do things. And I like the fact that, in a game where he had 30-some points and he could have went for 50, he just was like, yo, I'm going to make the right basketball play. And so those are things that make me think that his game translates and he possibly could get minutes where a lot of second-round picks wouldn't.
So at the risk here of my opinion being even less valid than it usually is, I'm sitting between the only 2 guys I ever met who book NBA Summer League watching into their calendar.
I do.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm just like, I'm going to check that out. It's like, no, I am down. I am watching this. But when we talked about it, the 2 days of the draft or the 2 days leading up to the draft, I forget what it was. Mike, I said, I think we agree that the Cavs are either going to take a big person that they can try to develop, or they're going to take a shot on upside talent. Right. Yep. And they didn't know that he was going to be there, but they had a pretty good inkling. They traded out of the first round, and you're taking a young guy who really just didn't get a ton of spotlight because he played with Darius Acuff.
Yep.
Right. And so he can score. We can see it. And it's only the Summer League. And let's not, create the Hall of Fame bust right now.
For sure.
But Summer League or not Summer League, the talent is obvious. And it's exciting. And we don't know what's going to happen with the Cavs and what moves they will have to make if the big one happens. But you have a guy who's tantalizing that's a potential trade piece, or you have a guy that's tantalizing that could come in and score off the bench in big moments 8-9 months from now.
I love Summer League for a few reasons. One, the overreactions are hysterical, good and bad. You have one bad Summer League game,
you're done.
And you stink.
You're done.
You have one good Summer League game, and there's something there. My general overall opinion on Summer League is you'd much rather see the guys look good than bad.
Yeah.
Even though none of it really matters when it's all said and done. The thing with Meleek Thomas that impressed me the most and gives me hope that he can one day develop into a legitimate contributor on an NBA roster. I don't think it's going to be with the Cavs this year in terms of getting enough minutes to really showcase what he can do. But I think he does have a trajectory where he can be a legitimate guy. Is it's his fluid athletic. And I want to ask you, Zach, if there's a Browns player that you can remember watching, and you too, G, but from practice is where you see more of it, that may fit what I'm talking about here. He's not the fastest end to end. He's not the quickest side to side. He's not 6'9" with a 7'3" wingspan. He's not a guy that's going to burn you in a 40 and beat you down the court every time. He doesn't have a 50-inch vertical. But the way he moves and the ability to put progressions together, whether it's an in and out cross, into a between the legs, into a hesitation, or it's a stop and go, it's functional athleticism. There are some guys that could jump really high straight up, can't move side to side. My guy, Mac McClung, who I've known since he was 15 years old, covered all his high school games. Elite vertical athlete, subpar horizontal athlete, side to side, lateral. And that's why he's a G League MVP and not playing in the NBA when I to this day, I believe Mac could score 20 points in an NBA game.
I still don't understand why this man's not an NBA.
It's because he can't guard anybody. And as good as he is offensively, he's that bad defensively because just the athleticism, elite vertically, not great laterally. Meleek Thomas is able to put together this fluid sequence of different moves where he's not just an incredible athlete, but he gets by people, he creates space. And that functionality is something I didn't see a ton of at Arkansas. Didn't need to because he was just better than a lot of kids. That I saw at the Summer League and I said, oh, that's the kind of stuff that translates.
I got a perfect example. You go first.
Okay. Harold Fannin.
That's a really good one.
Not super fast.
That's a really
certainly
good one.
Not finished product, strong, dominating the MAC. What's he going to do in the NFL? Well, he runs a route, he turns around, and he throws down the first two dudes that come to tackle.
Every time. Every time.
Like, get out of my way. Oh, he's been a tight end for how long? 2.5 years?
That's great.
Yeah. That's who comes to mind for me.
I'm going to go old school. We had two college teammates on the same team. One started with the Dolphins, one started with the Giants. I'm going to go with Jarvis Landry. Now, if you look at Jarvis Landry and Odell was one-hand catch, move out the way. I'm about to do this. He would catch the ball. He's gone. You look at Jarvis Landry, reportedly ran like a 4.7, but was able to still return kicks as a kick returner for the Dolphins. If you look at his first 3 or 4 years, he had the most receptions, like almost of all time, like in those first few years at the Dolphins. And when he got to Cleveland, he wasn't faster than everybody, but he was incredibly difficult to tackle. He ran routes where it just seems like he created separation, and he wasn't a vertical guy, but he still could find his spaces.
He was a tough contested catch guy, even if it wasn't jumping over your head.
Yeah. So that's my comparison. And to Meleek Thomas.
I don't think Meleek, and I don't want to put a ceiling on him. There are guys that come in and just right away, they're significantly better than anyone thought. But Koby Altman said the minute after they drafted Meleek Thomas, and I had to end our Cavs stream early because Koby went on literally like 7 minutes after the draft pick. They said, here's the Zoom link, be on in 5. All right, Koby's going to talk. He said, we're taking the guy at 34 that we thought had a chance to become the best NBA player at that point. The Cavs don't need another ball handler, per se. They don't need another guy off the bench that can come in and score. Every team does, but it's not like they have a lack of that already. They don't have functional size. They have one wing on the roster. This was not a draft pick to plug and play as a rookie. This was a long-term play because James Harden's 37. That's because a person who may or may not be on the team in the next 72-ish hours is in his 40s. You could put the pieces together. We can't say names here. That's because Donovan is in his prime, and in 3 or 4 years will be on the back end of his prime, and you have these next guys coming up. He was a potential pick. And a potential pick who just averaged 28.3 points per game and made all some of the first team. That's a hell of a potential pick to have in your back pocket to let develop either at the end of your NBA bench or in the G League where he's going to get more reps as a point guard. And then in a year or two, steps into that role as a legit contributor. And if you become a little bit better of a passer and read the game a little quicker, so a little quicker of a processor, combined with his natural ability to score the basketball, that's a legitimate rotation player in the NBA.
Listen, if it can get a rotation player in a second, that's how you build something. People keep asking, how do you get around the second apron and no big threes and cap restrictions? Well, you do like the Nuggets. You find somebody that's really good.
Can I give you the perfect example? AJ Mitchell on OKC. Second round pick.
Yep.
They did not, and he's a good Meleek Thomas comp because when they drafted him for the same reason the Cavs drafted Meleek Thomas. We think this guy could be a good player. We don't know when, and we don't need him right away. He was so good as a rookie and so good in his second season, which was just the one that just ended, that they felt okay letting Lou Dort walk.
Hey, look, that's your man.
That they let Isaiah Joe walk. That they let
crazy.
all these guys walk because he was ready way quicker than they thought. And he signed a 3-year, $9 million deal. Do you know how you get away with paying Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and SGA all max contracts? You have other guys making minimal money. That's the end goal. That's the ideal outcome here for Meleek Thomas, who, once again, was impressive in Summer League, but it was Summer League. So just make sure we're all in context with what that means. Last thoughts on Meleek Thomas before we take our final break.
I'm excited. I'll be anxious to see Jalen Tyson. You know, he was a guy who got into the rotation, started shooting a high percentage from three. You know, my question is, what needs to happen for him to get inside the rotation? I think he'll start in the G League and different things like that. But he's a guy that if you have a Proctor injury or Porter, Craig Porter goes down, or Jalen Tyson, you know, goes down with something, could he be a guy, depending on, you know, what's going on with the roster, could he be a guy that can get in somewhere and fit? And if he does fit, what's his best role? Because he's not going to have the ball in his hands if he's playing with these dudes. So the question is, how do you get your shot and affect the game if you don't have the ball in your hand?
My headset went out for a minute. G, did you say if Craig Porter gets traded for Bronny? Did you say that?
Yeah, like him and Bronny, yeah, that's the thing too. Yeah. That roster spot is available though by Bronny. Everybody else came in here and talk about they can't tell you what G Bush gonna tell you. Bronny got we got a position. We got a spot for you, dog. Come on, man.
When we last thing on Meleek, then we'll take the break. But part of the reason I just feel so strongly about him starting the G League is look at their guard depth right now. Like, you tell me when to stop on guys. For sure, Meleek Thomas is playing. Like, for sure. Donovan?
Nope.
James?
Mm-mm.
Sam Merrill?
Nope.
As of right now, Dennis Schroeder's on the team. So until that changes, you're not benching $16 million a year Dennis Schroeder for a second-round pick.
And apparently Dennis Schroeder is him. Like, Dennis Schroeder didn't play for every team. And
he does bring an element that they don't necessarily have. Max Strus? Jalen Tyson?
Mm-mm.
Are we sure he's ahead of Tyrese Proctor already, or Craig Porter Jr.? One of those two.
Those
he's
are the
not
two.
Ahead of Proctor right now.
So that
could change. But he's not right now,
and he's not ahead of Craig Porter Jr. Right? That's eight guards.
You got
and if you know what, we'll be nice. Let's take Tyson out. That's 7 guards that he is now slotted behind on the depth chart. There's only so many opportunities, only so many minutes to go around. So if you're trying to develop this guy, how does he develop more quickly? As the number one option in the G League, playing every night, or a guy in the NBA roster at the end of their bench getting in when the game's out of hand or when Kenny wants to throw him into a certain situation. I just think that's why it's not to throw a blanket or a wet towel on Meleek Thomas. It is the realistic logistics. I like that. Realistic logistics of the Cavs' current roster situation.
It is, because if there is a LeBron sighting and he comes back, best believe Sam Merrill is going to be one of the most loved and beloved people off the bench. They will love him, so they can dribble some more. Sam Merrill's open 3.
Yeah.